Hello and welcome to the Supreme Leadership Summit. I'm your host, Rachel Abba, and I am a Supreme Spiritual Guide and Courage Mentor to highly intuitive people. And I'm in the business of supporting highly intuitive women in particular become bold and feel seen and liberated to step out into the world and create meaningful successes for themselves. And today we have Amber J. Adams. Oh my God.
Oh,
Oh my God. If you knew what it took to get this fashionista, globe-trotting force of nature on this, I mean, she's an NYC, and honestly, like this woman, you never know where she is. You
yeah,
never
that's true.
you never know, like maybe go on Instagram and maybe you might catch a clue and then like she's gone, right? So she is a leadership coach, just an absolute, just inspiring, effervescent woman. And she personifies and exemplifies supreme leadership and supernatural courage. So I'm going to go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you so much. That was a beautiful, beautiful intro. I love all of that. Thank you.
She's like, I take it all.
I do. I take
And
it in.
so I'm going to go ahead and read your bio in brief, and we can get right into it. So, as I
All right.
said, Amber J. Adams, she's a coach, a writer, a traveler, and a speaker. A New York-based leadership and executive coach working with mid-career professionals who feel stuck in the messy middle of their careers. Oh, don't we know it? Her
Mhm.
superpower is, see, I told you she was supernatural. Her superpower is helping her clients reimagine and reframe their stories so they can pivot, gain clarity, and express their untapped potential. Her clients are learning how to reconnect with their ability to take the lead in building careers, businesses, and personal brands from places of courage, intention, and creativity on their terms. So, again,
Yes.
welcome to the Supreme Leadership
Thank
Summit,
you.
Amber.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be able to just talk and really just have a great conversation and hopefully
Yes.
inspire as many women as we possibly can.
Beautiful. Well, I totally, that's just a default. Like that's exactly what it's going to be. So I have no qualms about that. So let's get into you, right? So
Okay.
what what do you feel compelled to share with us today about yourself, about your journey, as it
Mhm.
relates to, coming to where you are right now, to the work you do as a globe-trotting boss?
Oh, as a globe-trotting boss, there are so many things I probably could share, but I'll give you the smaller version. So I'm sitting and coming to you right now from New York City, but I am originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm from the South. You might hear my accent come out in certain words at certain times. It just depends. And really, I made the transition to New York. I came up here for the first time and thought it seemed like fun. So most people move to New York because they want to be about the hustle, the bustle, the grind, all of those things. I came because I literally went to a live music venue on my first trip to New York, and it seemed like so much fun. And I ended up dancing through the aisles, and everyone was cheering me on. And I said, "This place makes me feel so free. I have to move here." And I was right. So I ended up moving to New York, and my career at the time was a little all over the place. I'll be honest with you. I am not one of those career coaches who has had a perfectly linear career. I think that's actually what drew me to coaching was because I felt like careers that have had twists and turns and ups and downs and pivots and shakes and wiggles just were not
Yes.
as fully represented as they should be. And so
Yes.
I, am a child of the 2009 recession. I got out of school around that time. So when I came to New York, it was hard. I was looking for jobs. I was working in jobs that was like, this doesn't serve me or my purpose at the time.
This is
It
not
was
what I
all kinds
thought.
of
I thought I was going to
right.
make it.
I thought I was gonna make it. I wasn't making it. It was all kinds of dramatic until I landed my first job, which was at Essence magazine as a journalist. So pretty cool. But it was
Yes.
also one of those roles where I got to discover that everything that glitters isn't necessarily gold. And that's when I had my first bit of wanderlust. And I was like, you know what? I really want to travel. I really want to do this thing. And I ended up leaving Essence and I traveled a little bit, but I still hadn't gained the courage, I would say, or in the confidence to go off and just really do it at that point. So I ended up doing some more work, which was fine because it gave me more experiences that I can now pull from as a coach and just really like understand and relate to people around how you end up on these different paths that sometimes you didn't necessarily choose, how you can get to places and feel, kind of stuck, like, what am I going to do? And so,
Yes.
my career was going along and I was doing my thing. And I got to this point in my life where I deep down probably was questioning myself and feeling like I was working and buying things because you have that cycle where you feel like, well, I worked so hard, so I should
I
buy all
deserve.
this
Yeah.
stuff. I
Treat
deserve,
yourself.
right? You
Yeah.
deserve. And we all deserve, but it's not necessarily in that way. And what ended up happening, which was really one of the biggest pivot points in my career and in my life, I got laid off from a job literally the day before I was to sign a lease for an apartment here in New York City. Like the
Ah,
day before. I mean, merely like
yeah.
not even 24 hours. It was
Yes.
crazy. And when this happened, most people probably would cry. They would feel some kind of way. Yours truly laughed. I laughed hysterically because I said, "Oh my God,
Yes.
this happened," but it also was a moment where it really reconnected me with myself. And I said, "This wasn't your dream. You didn't dream of having an apartment full of furniture, not at that time." But I was like, this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I
Yes.
spotted this book that was on my shelf that I had loved called Tales from a Female Nomad. And it
Mm.
reminded me that I've wanted to travel, that I had wanted to go off and really do an extended period of travel. And that had been one of my dreams since I was in my early 20s. And by this time, I was around 33. And
Yes.
so I said, okay, well, I think this is a thing. I need some money. So I ended up getting another job, yet another experience that gave me more kind of
So what
ammunition
happened with the
for all the
lease?
things.
What happened with the
Oh, I
lease?
called them and said, y'all, I can't do this. I was like, I do not have a job anymore. I can't sign this
Yours
lease.
truly is unemployed.
Yours,
Yeah.
yours truly is unemployed. You don't want me as a
Yes.
tenant.
Yeah.
And they were, they said, okay. Um, they could recognize this is not the girl we need in this
Yeah.
apartment right
Yeah.
now. And so they let me out of it. I ended up getting another job. That ended up being an experience unto itself because one of
Oh,
the things that I've learned is, especially when I talk about leadership with my clients,
yes.
the type of leader that you become is kind of this duality between the type of leaders that you've had that you've hated and the type of leaders that you've had that you really loved. Meaning you don't want to do the ones that you hated what they did, you don't want to echo them. The
Yes.
ones that you've loved and appreciated, you want to figure out how to refine your leadership style from there.
Yes.
So this was one of those moments because at that point I was like, "Oh, these people crazy." Thank God I have my my plan for backpacking, and I quit my job. I remember my last day of working
Oh
was
Lord.
October 2018 or October 18th, 2018. From there, I like sold all the stuff in my New York apartment and I took off. And by February of 2019, I was in Colombia. I was in Cartagena,
Wow.
Colombia. Yes.
Yes.
And so that experience really transformed my life. And it was one of the first times where I had to really dig into my own courage, or I guess I'll say build it. I had to build my courage because I
Wow.
had that moment of clarity when I lost the apartment, I lost the job. Then I had to have this moment of courage where I said, okay, this has been my dream for a long time to travel. This is the moment. I think it's here, it's now, and I've got to push myself. And I had a lot of fears. I don't want to sit here and pretend as if I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to do it. I was like, yes, I'm going to do it, but I was also nervous. What is this going to
Yes.
do to my career trajectory?
Of
What will
course.
this, look like when I come back to the United States? Because
The
I've got to
gaps on
come
your
back at this
resume.
moment.
Yeah.
Gaps on your resume, all the things that people kind of tell you that are out there.
Yes.
And so I just said, this is what I want to do. I'll figure it out later. I'm going to make it happen. And that was a point of courage for me. And it paid off. That totally changed me as a person. It changed my career. It changed how I present my story. It changed how I decided to go forth with other goals, which was getting my leadership certification.
Yes.
It changed his how I show up in the
Oh,
world
that's
day to
powerful.
day as
Yes.
well. Yeah.
It
And
informs
so
your, yeah, it informs the way you, yeah, who you being.
it
Absolutely.
informs the way that I'm being really at all times. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of that time period in my life, to be honest. And being able to really dive into it and come out on that other side and find out that people, recruiters, employers love talking to me about my travels, because so many people, if you're a person who loves to travel, you're like, oh wow, so you did this. This is really actually it's really interesting. And so
Well,
that was
I
such
would
a point
imagine
for
it can
me.
be inspiring as well, because I mean, how many people are in jobs? Even the recruiters might be going through similar
Yep,
nudgings,
because they're
right?
humans too. Like
Yes,
everyone's human. And
right?
it's really about getting back to this humanity. I think, now
Yes.
that we're on the other side, of course, of our global health crisis, we are getting back to this place where it's like, okay, the
Yeah.
humanity is really coming back into the room. And I'm super excited about that. And I think that all these things have weaved together to where I am right now in this moment, which is being able to coach people to really get back to the source of their humanity, to get
I
back
love
to,
that.
as we said, wanting to take on those pivots and wanting to take on challenges and really reconnect with their ability to live their life on their terms and lead their career on their terms as well.
That's beautiful. And what I'm hearing within that as well is, as you're sharing your story and speaking to recruiters, and it also opens up opportunities for other people who have those same gaps on their resume. So having
Mm-hmm.
met you and having heard your story, they feel now more comfortable and confident to
Yeah.
invite candidates in who might have, um, you know, uh, less
Yeah.
than normal
Right,
um,
exactly.
CVs,
Global
right?
experience is what I
Global
call it. I mean, it's
experience.
global experience.
Love
We live
it.
in a globalized
Yes,
society, we live in a globalized workplace. Global
absolutely.
experience and being able to understand different perspectives is
Different
extremely
cultures,
important. I mean, we
different,
talk about
yeah.
DE&I, that is diversity. Being able to understand people from all over the world is really powerful. Yeah.
Yes, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sure
So,
is.
I mean, this is something that is really key, because you're not only just talking it, you're walking it, right?
Yeah.
So here's someone who can be, you're rebranding and presenting yourself as an asset. So if you have a similar experience, or if you have similar
Mm-hmm.
nudgings, know that this is not an X
Yeah.
against you. This can be like, you connect with your humanity
Mm-hmm.
as you now give yourself an edge in the workplace,
Yeah.
right? Like you're
Exactly.
coming back, 10 feet tall and bulletproof, not,
Yeah.
stressing and sweating about whether or not,
Yes.
do I have to explain, like you're under, like, duress. Rather,
Mm-hmm.
you lead with it,
I
right?
lead with
Lead
it.
with it.
Mm-hmm.
And let that be a talking point. And it also, I would say, also makes you memorable,
It does.
right?
It makes
You
you
stand out.
memorable. I stand out. And one of the things that I actually created a course, because I gave a talk when I got back about how I took this experience of me traveling and I volunteered and did work that I wanted to do. So I worked with a lot of female entrepreneurs while I was traveling, helping with
Beautiful.
branding and strategy, because these are the things that are in my wheelhouse.
Yes.
And it was something that, one, gave me opportunities to like stay different places for free, which I absolutely loved, eat for free, all these
Yes.
things, opened me up to so many different possibilities. But it also helped me to, at this later stage in my career, or at this midpoint, be able to have a through line. So I was able to
Yes.
have fun and also build experiences as well.
Yes.
So like it was a good mix of,
That was a power
having
move.
the fun. It was a
That was a
power move.
power
It
move.
was a power move. It was a strategic power move. I was
Yes.
inspired by an episode of Grey's Anatomy where one of the
Ooh.
characters said she wanted to build a fellowship for herself. And I said, well, why can't I
Oh,
do that? I can
yes.
build a fellowship. What was this? Look, I get on Google, build fellowship for self. And nothing was really
What's
there,
this
but I
thing,
just kind of got
fellowship?
some
What is it
ideas.
like?
I
Yeah.
just started cobbling stuff together and it really worked out for me. And it is a point on my resume. I definitely have it on there. It's
Yeah.
not a gap. I literally put that I took a
Front and
career
center.
gap year. Yeah.
Beautiful. All of this, like every day. Because what I'm hearing here is, sometimes the fear, I don't know if this is true for any
Mm-hmm.
of you out there, but the fear can be, well, I don't want to seem frivolous. I don't want to look
Mm,
crazy and
yeah.
like, unstable,
Like
right?
unstable
Like
or either like irresponsible too. I would
unreliable.
even put that
Yeah.
out there, unreliable, irresponsible. All these
Flighty, right?
words that people
Yeah.
kind of
The
put on
judgments,
you, the
the
judgments,
judgments.
they really
Yes.
have nothing to do with what you are actually doing. I will
Yes.
say, I think now on the other side of, our global health crisis, I think that people are more open now. And so
Yes.
I think that now is really a good time for people to make all kinds of different moves that they have wanted to make, because
Yes.
what we have seen is that life can be short, it can be long, it's unexpected, all of it.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
when you have a desire to do something and you have, you find that moment of clarity and you say,
Yes.
this is what I want to do,
Yes.
really finding that courage and taking that action is so key. And that's how you build up your confidence.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And in your case, so this is encouragement for everyone out there. Everything that you do, I mean, I always encourage people to look at it through a filter of whatever it is your vision is, your vision for your
Mm-hmm.
life, right? So as long as it's in harmony and in alignment, like it's in the same room as your vision, it
Yeah.
can't be a wrong decision. Like it really can't
Mm-hmm.
be a wrong, because everything is bringing your vision forward. Every step you
Yep.
take, every decision you make, as long as it is compatible with your vision, you know, that's
Yeah.
at least one step you can go, okay, vetted. Let's see what else
Mm-hmm.
is behind that. And so, but you weren't just like ping ponging all over the globe with no plan, no like couch surfing. This is not what Amber was doing. What she did was make a decision that from the outside to some people, judgments might have seemed frivolous or flighty or irresponsible. But look at how she positioned herself and positioned these
Mm-hmm.
different moves where it's like, while I am traveling, the vision was still
Yeah.
in place. I will leverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single decision, every single move. As I'm traveling, I'm going to be getting work experience, even if it's volunteering, doing it for free, doing it like, bartering with it in
Yeah.
exchange for a place to sleep and food to eat. I will do this work. So she's still in her vision. It's
Yeah.
not just
I have
like,
a
I'm
lot
just
of
going to sit
fun.
on a beach somewhere and hope my life improves. Like it wasn't that, right? Like it was with everything, because within what it is you're doing, within your vision, there will be
Mm-hmm.
moments of rest. There will be those moments
Yeah.
of
Yes.
introspection. You will have those moments to reflect and think of what the next move is and
Mm-hmm.
listen and be willing to receive, as long as you are in alignment, aligned
Mm-hmm.
action, committed action with
Yeah.
vision. It's almost as if everything else is above your pay grade. Are you willing to say yes?
I
That's the
think it's, are
courage.
you willing to take that first
Yeah. Are
step
you willing?
and
Right?
believe that those next steps will come? Because if you take a first step, no one steps like this, right? We don't walk in a zigzag. You do one foot at a time,
Yes.
one foot at a time. And that's that alignment that you're talking about. You
Yes.
are naturally aligned with yourself when you are walking forward, when you
Yes.
have forward motion and you're taking the steps, you're there with you,
Yes.
you know? Yeah. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
someone out there needed to hear this today, and or be reminded of this
Being reminded,
today.
yeah, for sure.
To say, you're not crazy, you're not missing something, you didn't, not that you didn't get the memo. It's like wherever you are, honor the step you're
Yeah.
in and trust, as long as you're being true to yourself and you're listening and you connect with your humanity as you're, sharing, trust, right?
Trust,
Trust.
exactly.
And so then you mentioned, the confidence piece came after, right? The courage, you said yes. And then
Mhm.
you started seeing bits of the picture coming together. So you started trusting yourself and trusting the process. What has that worthiness conversation been like for you? Like in terms of, you watch Grey's Anatomy, you're like,
Yeah,
what is that? I can do this. Like, how
I
hard
can
can it
do
be? What is it? Right? Like, so it's like, how did you even say to yourself, I'm worthy of this?
Mm-hmm.
I can do better. I get to experience better than this. Is there all like questioning even? Like where did you even think you had the right? To want
Wow.
something
Yeah.
that you might not have had a precedence for in your own
Mm-hmm.
life?
That's such a good question. I think that the worthiness conversation with myself has changed throughout
Mm,
the years. I'm glad to say, I think at this point, I can look back and say it has evolved and it has
beautiful.
grown and it
Yes.
has become more encapsulating of maybe my self-love for me and like belief in me. And so when I wanted to travel, one of the things that I didn't have early in my 20s, I don't think I thought that I was worthy of that dream and that
Ah,
I didn't have the confidence to pull it off then. Like when I quit Essence and I said, I'm going to go travel, I wanted to go travel.
yes.
And I just did not have the confidence to be able to do it that way. I didn't see myself at that moment in time as kind of worthy. And when you aren't allowing that expansiveness for yourself, you don't see the steps. The steps can be in front of your face. The universe can start dropping stuff for you. But if you don't have, you have a blinders on and you feel like I'm not worthy of this, I don't deserve this, you're like this. You can't see what's
Yes.
actually around you and what's being set up for your greater good. So over time, I had gone through, a lot of the job situations because that can take a toll on you, right? Like some of those early
Mm,
job situations took a toll on me. They chipped pieces of my self esteem. Like I wasn't always in a good place, but I had
yes.
started to navigate into really kind of healing and really seeing that honestly, my worth as me, Amber, was not connected to my job. That
Beautiful.
no matter where I was
Ooh.
or my career,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah.
something, to hear literally a career coach say this, I will tell you all day long. Your career is the job, but your self worth is
Yes.
totally separate from that because at the end of the day, no one can ever pay you what you are worth. You're priceless.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
priceless. And when you
Yes.
start to really reconnect with that and really take it in and believe it, then there a split happens where your worthiness becomes this separate thing, almost like you get to hold it and shape it in your hands.
I love
And
it.
it's not something that's attached to an external thing like a job, a car, a house.
Yes.
Because I mean, that's really what it was. When I traveled, I let go of all the things.
Yeah, the
I sold all
okay.
my stuff. I
Okay.
gave away clothes. I had to get down to the essence of
You're
Amber
hearing it.
and who Amber really is and what Amber really wanted and what Amber really deserved and felt worthy of. And I felt worthy of having a
Yes.
beautiful experience. And I had to tell myself, the money I have going into this is the money. The skills I have and whatever I'm able to do, that's the skills.
Yeah.
But my experience will be beautiful no matter what because it's the experience I was meant to have. It's the experience that I was worthy of
Yes.
having and bringing into my life for sure. But it
Beautiful.
wasn't always that way. It definitely,
Yes.
grew over time.
Yeah. And we're talking identity again,
Mm-hmm.
of like, where do you place your value, right?
Yeah.
Do you place your value in the relationships you have, in your belief or faith systems, in your career, in your
Mm-hmm.
material possessions? Like, where's it?
Yeah.
Because if you place it and if you place your worthiness in something outside of yourself, then that is something
Exactly.
outside of your impact. Like it's not for
Yeah.
sure. Like it's fleeting.
It's
It can
it's
change.
fleeting. It can change, and I actually just did an exercise the other day with one of the people in my coaching cohort. So shout out to you. She knows who she is.
Yes.
But we did this thing where we mapped out three different futures. One where, okay, this is the future that you have now in this
Yes,
moment. How
yes,
do you look at this over the next 5 years? The second one was if everything fell away, you had none of the things that you currently have, the
yes,
relationships, the job, whatever.
yes,
What would you do? And the third one was if time was and money was no object. And the
yes,
second one was really interesting to do. What do you do if there's nothing? It's just you. Because then you figure out what your essence is and what you really bring to the table that's
yes,
completely separate from all of this other stuff that we have been really kind of tricked into looking
Like a
at as
distraction.
markers,
These
exactly,
can be
distractions and
distractions. Yes.
markers of our success,
Yes. And
you
a worth.
know,
Yeah.
and our worth. And so I think when you are able to tap into your worthiness as something that is self-contained within you, that has
Yes.
nothing to do with anything else that's going on outside of you, with anything that's material, that anything that can be taken away,
Yes.
then you are really getting deep and
Wow.
being able to really tap into how you want to lead your life, how you want to move forward, how you may want to make different moves or whatever the case might be.
Yes. Yes. How you show up.
How you
And
show
this
up.
is like innate, something that is innate, your innate
Mhm.
worth, right?
Yeah,
That is not based on the markets, right? Like it's,
exactly,
you
exactly.
know,
Because the markets are the markets. They're gonna do what they're the markets market, right? They're gonna do what they want to do. You don't have any control over that, but you can
yes,
always control you and your ability to rebuild in whatever shape, form, or fashion you are
exactly.
called upon to do.
I
Hmm.
love it. Say, oh my goodness. See, I told you, like this is just gold. Like everything
Yeah.
here is gold. And seeing ourselves in your story, and I know I hear and I see myself in your story, Amber. Um, there's that like moment you shared about really when you were willing to let it all go,
Yeah.
right? You were like, you know what, this is about me, about my experience. I want to feel a certain way. I want to be a certain way. And I'm willing to just let it all go for
Hmm.
me, right?
Yeah.
And it's that, like, I really resonate with that because I had a similar moment as well of I am
Hmm.
willing to lose it all.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
whatever the perceptions, the titles, the whole thing of being a good person, being a good woman, being a good daughter, being like all the labels that
Mm.
come with it. I'm like,
Hmm.
I am ready to burn this show up, right? For me, like,
And
because
it's such a powerful feeling. Powerful.
yes, and the
Very powerful.
fear, there's so much fear around loss, right?
Yes.
Losing face, losing status,
Yes.
losing belongings, losing
That
relationships.
perception is a word that I feel like we don't talk about
Yes.
enough. Because if you
Okay.
think about, especially in the career space,
Hmm.
especially when you're talking about leadership,
Yes.
to really talk about perception, that's some vulnerable stuff
We'll talk
because
about
you're
it.
getting to a place where you have to be vulnerable enough to put out there how you wish to be perceived, but what does it look like when that actually really lines up with who you are? Because there's a difference between
Yes.
how you wish to be perceived and who you are and being vulnerable. I would say
Yes.
being vulnerable is on the other side of that is showing up as who you really are and using, of course, your judgments to figure out how much access to yourself do you
Discernment.
give people, that
Yes.
discernment piece of it, but being able to really show up vulnerably is very powerful,
Okay.
beyond the
You're
perception
you're just
someone should
dropping
have of
nuggets and
you.
like strolling through. Come back. Come back, Amber. You're talking about, who you actually are, like your authentic
Hmm.
self
Yeah.
versus your wishing self, like the self that sometimes you think would be
Or the
your
self
best or
that you
your
feel like you
ideal.
need to portray in
Yeah,
order
like
to be
your
accepted.
mask,
Yeah,
right?
your
Your
mask,
mask in
the
the world.
mask.
And there might be some folks out there who might not yet be able to tell the difference
Yeah. I
between the
would I
two.
would say that especially in the coaching space, I consider myself to be lucky when people come to me that are in that space where they start to feel uncomfortable and maybe
Mm.
they're starting to feel a little bit, I don't want to say unhinged, but maybe I do, because what's happening is they are starting to experience a separation between who
Yes.
they are in this mask that they've felt that they've had to wear. And it's almost kind of like, when you put on something and it's itching you, it's
Yeah, yeah,
bothering you,
yeah, yeah,
feel like, oh, I need to
yeah.
get this off. Like, just get this off of me. That's
Is that
how
like
people start to be
cognitive
uncomfortable.
dissonance? Like there's
I
like
think it's
a
probably a little bit of cognitive dissonance, but it's like coming into the awareness of it. Because once you
yes.
start to become aware of these things, you can't just shake it off. You can't be
Yeah.
like, okay,
You can,
I'm gonna put on my mask today. It's like,
yeah.
no, you have an awareness of it. And with that awareness comes the question of, well, are you gonna take action or not? Now that you
And that's
know,
exactly how the
what do
voice
you
out,
want to
well,
do? Well, yeah,
well,
well. And I
now
feel like,
what? Yeah.
everyone who's listening to this, you've heard that voice before.
Yes.
We all have. We haven't gotten this far in life and not heard the voice and been like, well,
Well,
girl, what you trying to do? That's what my voice sounds like.
yeah,
It's like,
please.
girl, what you trying to do? Really? Really? And I just
Yeah.
have to say, okay.
And you try to like,
You can try all you want, but
that's why I
eventually
said try.
it'll catch up to you. It will catch up to you because
Always
that's your
does.
inner voice. It's you. It's
Yes, your
you.
higher
It's your
self.
inner voice.
Yeah.
So you can't hide from it because it's with you. You're just trying to mask it and hold it down and maybe tap out and you don't want to listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it catches up with you.
So you
I
might
will
as
say.
well.
You might as
You
well.
just might as
You might as
well.
well. So I love it when I meet people. That's really that messy middle that I talk about when they're in
Yes.
that space where the mask is starting to become unglued a little bit and they can give a really
You're
few
trying to touch
glimpses of
up. You're
light.
trying to like,
You're trying to touch up, but you can't. It wants to come off. And then
yes.
what happens with that, it's like, well, where do we go now? How do we
Yes.
proceed? And I find it to be great fun. I
Yes.
obviously I
You
find it to be
enjoy
fun,
it. Like,
but
yeah, you enjoy it a
yeah,
lot to the chagrin of your clients. Probably they're like, why is she so happy? You're like excited for them because you
I
see
am
the
excited for them.
potential
I
and
see the
you
potential.
know what can be. You know
Exactly.
what
I
they can
know what can be,
create.
and I know that just on the other side of that mask
Yes.
is that
Yes.
reconnection. It's almost like crossing a bridge. It's that
Yes.
reconnection to their
Yes.
potential and that ability to believe that they can really tap into it.
Beautiful. And on that note, what would be, what would you recommend in terms of like a practice or a resource or,
Hmm.
that can be that bridge, right? Can be
That's
that
a good
first
question.
step
Yeah.
for people who are like, looking across an abyss, right? And your voice is there, the inner voice is there, like you can do it,
Hmm.
it's okay. They're like, there's no step there. There's nothing to catch me. Are you out of your mind? Right?
But there's always the next step. That's the next step. It's a good question. I honestly would recommend sitting with yourself and asking yourself some powerful questions.
Such as.
Because that's such as actually one of the things that's fun about coaching. A lot of times people think coaching is telling people what to do. It's not. If I'm telling you what to do, I'm not doing my job as a coach. My job is to ask you powerful questions that help you go deeper into yourself. So, one powerful question that I would share with you that I think anyone can apply to any situation, and this is kind of like the follow up question, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes the follow up question is more important than what you initially asked. And it is, why is that important to me? Or what's actually, I'll reframe that. What's important about that?
Yes.
What's important about that? So when
Yes.
you ask yourself a question, something comes up for you. What's
Hmm.
important about that? And
Yes.
it's such a simple question. And in coaching, some of the best questions are the simple questions, but it's a powerful question. When you ask
Yes.
yourself, what's important about that? And you're
Yes.
able to start to go deeper because sometimes when you ask that follow up question, you start getting like, wait, oh, I didn't know that was
Oh, what?
there.
Yeah.
There's some things. There are some
Yeah.
things. And it takes you deeper within yourself. And if you
Beautiful.
are, I won't say if you are courageous, I will challenge you to be courageous and say, keep going.
Yes.
How
What's
low can
underneath
you
that? What's
go?
under yeah.
Exactly. How low can you go? And this is
Yes.
one time in life where you want to go a little lower
Look, you want
because
to go low.
you're going deeper. You want to go low.
Yes.
You're
I
going
like
deeper.
that's a beautiful invitation into self and really taking inventory is what it
Hmm.
sounds like of your values, of your vision, of your dreams, of your desires. And sometimes you might look underneath and go, wait, that's not important at all. Like
Yeah.
whose dream was that? Okay, not mine. Like there's no alignment there,
Exactly.
right? And so this is a
Exactly.
lovely way of just editing and
Yeah.
see what we like sorting, right?
Yeah. It
What
is
are we going to
sorting.
release and donate? What are we keeping? What still fits?
Exactly.
Like, is it just a wish of I'm going to fit into that size 2 skirt, right?
Yeah.
And I'm keeping it, those are my cute jeans. Versus, okay, we haven't been anywhere near in the neighborhood of 2 for a while. So how about we just
be and accept who you are right
Accept
now
who
and
you
let
are.
that go
And
so
why is
that you
that
can pull in
important?
something else. And why is
Right?
that
Why is
important?
that
What's
important for
important about
two? Is
that?
it the number? Is it the cut because you can't find it
It's
anymore?
a
Like, what is
feeling.
it? Like, what
It's
is it?
so
How do you
much.
feel?
Exactly. It's
Absolutely.
really a question that kind of leads down. I love that you brought up the word edit because that for me feels like a full circle moment for someone who started out their career as a journalist, as a writer, and an editor. To
Beautiful.
see that essentially I still do that same work, that was always kind of my
Yes.
calling and my purpose. It's just happening in a different way now. I still
Yes.
edit all the time, every single
Yes.
day, but it's stepping up to help people edit their story and pull out the best of
Beautiful.
it. Yeah.
Make it concise and
Make it concise,
impactful,
powerful,
right?
courageous,
Yeah.
clear, all the
Living a
things.
Pulitzer life, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, we're already at time, and honestly, I say this, we've had such incredible experts on this summit, and you are no exception.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Amber J. Adams, for
Thank
doing this, and being with us and sharing your wisdom. She's an amazing coach, and definitely, if you have, if you have that wanderlust, if you have those
Yeah.
questions, or you want additional questions to your repertoire, and you want to really, take that leap of faith and go deeper to uncover your
Hmm.
authentic self, Amber's your
Yeah.
girl. Amber's your
I'm
girl.
that coach that will encourage you to both maybe find a new job, quit your job, or elevate in the one that you have, or build a new one. It can go
Exactly.
all kinds of ways.
Limitless possibilities, walk
Limitless
across that
possibilities.
bridge, and
Yes.
find yourself. So I honor and I see you, and thank you so much for
Thank
being with us.
you.
For everyone else, again, another powerful video. Hang in there. We've got 2 more days left in the summit, 2 more days. It's been a journey. It's been a journey and nourishing, beautiful blessing. Thank you for accompanying us on this journey and continuing with us. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.